Today's topic is how to minimize student debt and how to keep student debt under control. Now, as most of you have heard, in society, in American society, uh, we are taking on more and more student debt. It is one of the largest debts that we as a society take on. And even though you hear this, right, for most people, a college degree is still the ticket to a middle class life. So unless you're an entrepreneur, you have some amazing skill, like a basketball player, or you're just a genius that is, that's super smart. Most of the time, going to college is what's going to help you get that middle class good life, right? That American dream that people talk about, right? And so they've actually seen, studies have actually shown that the lifetime difference of income between a college graduate and a high school, someone that just graduated with a high school degree, is $830,000. So that's money towards your standard of living. So even though we have student debt, or you have to take on student debt to go to college, most of the time it is for good, and it is going to help you with your life, right? So let's take that assumption, going to college is good. If that assumption is true, let's go over some strategies to help you minimize your student debt, right? So the first one is get help, right? And how do you get help? You simply go to the next line, do your FAFSA, right? This is the federal student aid application that everyone has to fill out, and everyone fills out because this lets the college you go to, scholarships you apply for, loans you're going to get, it lets people know how much help you need to finish your college degree. People want you to be successful. They want you to graduate college because that's money that we're investing in you, American society, but everybody, all these institutions are investing in you, right? So fill that out. Fill it out at the appropriate time. Don't delay. When it becomes that time of the year, especially during the beginning of the year, start asking about it, right? Or even earlier, end of the year, start asking about it. Hey, go to your local financial aid office. Hey, do I need to start filling out my FAFSA, etc. All right, because if you miss that deadline, it becomes very difficult. It becomes more difficult to get financial aid. 2, do scholarships. All right, now scholarships is free money that nonprofits, other institutions, they give to students, right? And my suggestion is apply for the local ones. Now, local ones, I've applied when I went to college, before I went to college in high school, kind of my senior year, I did scholarships, and I actually won maybe $1,500 to $2,000. And that money was money I didn't have to pay back. It made it easier for me to go to college, right? So apply for the local ones because they're less competitive. Do your best at them. You can also apply to the national ones if you're a very competitive candidate and you follow the qualifications, right? So none of these scholarships are going to be easy, but if you win, that's money that you can offset and reduce your student debt, right? You have to chip away at your student debt little by little, right? And it starts when you begin in college. Finally, if you haven't convinced your parents already, you need to convince them that they need to help you. Here's why, okay? When you are at college, everybody at college is basically poor. No one has income, right? Now, because everyone is poor, the government needs to figure out how to divvy up or how to put resources to what student, what resources to put to what student. And they do that by not looking at the student, because everyone has basically the same income, but actually looking at their parents' income, right? And if your parents are, relatively poor, then you don't have to worry, As long as you get them to fill out the FAFSA, you should be okay, right? But if your parents have significant income, right, and the government expects them to help you contribute, they have an estimated family contribution, expects them to contribute X amount of dollars, convince them that they need to help you, right? Because this is for the future, this is for your future, and you getting ahead, Now, if they say, hey, this is what I hear a lot from parents that are wealthy, and especially parents that are wealthy that, quote, did it on their own, right? Now, for these parents, okay, you need to tell them, you need to convince them that, hey, okay, you make significant amount of money, and that's awesome, but the government looks at your income and expects you to give money towards me. And if you don't give it to me, it would have been better off that we were poor, because then I would at least get more money from the government. So don't bail from your responsibility to support me, all right? Because I'm going to do what I am going to do to support myself and to get as much aid as possible, but I need your help, all right? So let them know that, convince them, and if you convince them, you're on your way to minimizing your student loans. All right, number 2, all right, minimize costs, right? And what are some ways to do that? 1, go to public institutions, right? So whether it's a community college, great way, 2 years to transfer, or it's a state college / state university, they're usually half the price or 1/3 of the price of a private institution. They provide just as great services and college education. Some of them are ranked really top, at the top of the colleges in the U.S. So when you can, go to a public institution. All right. Use subsidized loans now, right? So you did your FAFSA, you applied. There's going to be subsidized loans for you. Use those instead of private loans, because the interest rates are usually higher on private loans, and at the same time too, there are various loans that the government actually pay off your interest until you graduate and you're ready to pay those loans off yourself, right? This goes without saying, I just put it on here. Grants, of course, if you have grants, take them, because they're basically free money that they give you, right? Also, to minimize cost, try to finish within 4 years, right? Now, you finish within 4 years by first, I believe, exploring, right? But not exploring forever, exploring for a set period of time, and then focusing. Focus on your major and the career that you want to do, right? So that you can get out of there in 4 years, right? Because the more time that you're in school, the more expenses you're racking up, and at the same time too, you're not earning income. All right. All right. So with that being said, in income, we go to the third one. Okay, increase your income. Now, the first one is do part-time work. Not only does part-time work build character, build your resume, but it also builds your bankroll. That's money you pay. Whether it's putting money toward your school or just paying for your everyday expenses. That's money you didn't borrow and you have to pay back. So that will continue to minimize your debt, right? And finally, this is the toughest one to swallow, but you have to make sure that you get a job, right? This is even more crucial for people that are not in the STEM field, science, technology, engineering, mathematics, right? You have to get a job, right? And how do you do that? You plan, right? Around your sophomore year of college, you should be already thinking, how do I get my job, my career goal, right? And, we've talked about this in other videos, whether it's internships, trying to work in those organizations, getting a really good degree that will slide you into those positions that you can get a good job. Because at the end of the day, it's okay to take on this debt, but people get really in trouble because they don't have the income, right? If you're committed to going to school, you have to be committed to paying it back, right? And you do that by getting a job, right? Getting a job by planning it and planning to pay back that loan, right? So I know this is easier said than done, but I know with these tips, you should be well on your way to keeping your student debt down and being able to be successful. Thanks again for watching.